Oh. We'll call to order the finance meeting for Thursday, April 14th. First agenda item, approval of minutes.
Move to approve.
Second, all in favor?
Aye. Mr. Chairman, I have a motion. I move to move item number 2, which is discussion item for Center Cemetery Database, down the agenda behind item number 6, which currently is discussion, possible action, capital and non-recurring allocation.
Okay, I will second. All in favor?
Aye.
Item number 3, we'll skip 2, go to 3. Discussion, possible action, lease photocopiers for the police department.
Okay. We have a resolution here for a lease for photocopiers for police department. We have 5 copiers, 1 color, and 4 a smaller size. This is on a state bid. We did a review of the copier needs at the police department. They were experiencing a high number of support calls at inopportune times during the night and needed to address their needs. So we did go off the state bid and are recommending going on a 5-year lease for these machines.
Any questions?
No questions. Mr. Chairman, I move to place the proposed town council resolution dated April 18, 2022, called photocopier lease police department, as included in our package today, onto the consent agenda for an action item at the next meeting of the town council.
I will second. All in favor?
Aye.
Move on to item 4, discussion, possible action, award of bid, call on drainage.
Okay, we had a bid on March 28th for the on-call drainage project, and we had 2 companies respond to the bid. We had JV3 as well as General Paving, the lowest bidder being JV3, and we are requesting that we make that award to JV3 Construction. This total amount was $169,350, and the funding for this will be the road referendum project.
So where's this work to be performed, Mona?
No, go
Probably
ahead.
the roads that they're planning to do this year, and the JV3 will be going out doing some of the stormwater drain preparation.
So not one specific location, this is,
Well,
That's the
whatever
other.
Steve said the other night he was here,
Yeah.
might have been Church Street.
okay.
He mentioned a number of roads, I can't remember offhand, but they do have a number of roads they're gonna do this paving season.
So it's tied to that phase, and yeah, he read off a list of roads that were next on the list. Okay, got
These
it.
are the catch basins, I believe, right? The
Right.
stormwater
Yeah.
runoff basins.
Okay. Any other questions?
Motion?
Sure. Mr. Chairman, I move that Town Council Resolution dated April 18th, 2022, captioned Award of Bid On-Call Drainage Preparation Contractor, as included in our meeting packet tonight, be placed on the consent agenda for the next meeting of the Town Council for favorable action.
I will second. I'm assuming no discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Item number 5, discussion and possible action, lease dump truck for the highway department.
Okay, on this one, we are putting in, it'll be 2 leases. This particular truck comes in 2 components. We have the first part being the F-750 cab. It's a 2023 Ford that's going through Gabrielli Truck on a lease, $22,482, and that's coming out of the CIP budget for a 5-year lease. And then we do the second portion, which is the dump truck body that will go on to that. That'll come together with the Viking, who is also going to be a lease, $21,696. We're leasing that through Municipal Leasing Consultants, and that's basically the leasing company that is the arm of Bank of America. That will also be for a 4-year period. The 2 together will be 1 large dump truck, cab and chassis, dump truck, body. And this is replacing a 1986 dump truck off of the highway fleet roll.
And these are lease purchases?
Correct.
Lease to own?
Yes.
And these were foreseen expenses in the budget, right?
That's right.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not something that wasn't in the budget or could be deferred till next year's budget.
Right.
So I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Chair, I move with respect to Town Council Resolution dated April 18th, 2022, captioned Acquiring, Leasing, Dump Truck, Highway Department, that proposed resolution be referred to the consent agenda for the next meeting of the Town Council for favorable action.
And I will second. I'm assuming no discussion. Those in favor?
Aye.
And our last item under discussion, possible action, capital and non-reoccurring allocation.
Okay. We have here a resolution from Burris Logistics, who had a tax abatement for a number of years, had ended that. They'll be selling to BJ's, so they had to return the portion of that refund which came to us. We've already received the dollars, $503,000. And this resolution is stating that we would like to have that allocated to the capital non-reoccurring fund and just put as undesignated fund balance for future use.
Okay.
I have no questions.
No questions? I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I move with respect to Town Council Resolution dated April 18, 2022, bearing the caption Reserve for Capital and Non-Recurring Expenditures Fund, Business Development Incentive Agreement Termination Deposit, that proposed resolution be referred to the Town Council's consent agenda for the next meeting for favorable action.
I will second. All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Now we'll slow down a little bit and welcome Weathersfield, Rocky Hill Historical Society for the Center Street Cemetery.
Thank you. Ed Ciccarello, 40 Riverview Road, speaking as the president of the Rocky Hill Historical Society tonight. We have in the audience, if needed, for questions or answers, we have the sexton, Ray Sweezy, and the town historian, Bob Heron, and Mark Ambrose is here from DTG, who will do a quick presentation in regards to what we're asking for tonight. This year, the Historical Society has created the Friends of Center Cemetery with the express purpose of improving our town's historic working cemetery. Over the years, we've helped to create signage to identify the grounds and the rules of the cemetery. We've assisted in proposals to repair broken monuments, and we've given many tours and cleaned countless gravestones. Tonight, we are presenting the Finance Committee with a unique opportunity to solve a problem with absolutely no financial expense to the town. In other words, free. Let me explain the problem. Say you know a deceased friend or relative that was buried in Center Cemetery and you want to go visit that grave. There is no way online to find the location of that person. Currently, what happens now is that the Historical Society or the sexton might get an email or a phone call asking, "Where is Uncle Joe? Where is he buried?" I will email our town historian or the sexton, and they will make an appointment with the person to help them locate their loved one. Most cemeteries nowadays have a searchable online database with associated maps that help loved ones locate their friends or relatives, and this is our opportunity. Maria Labrio from Rose Hill Memorial Park in Rocky Hill has offered to provide the town, free of charge, an online searchable database for Center Cemetery. I called Rose Hill when I was searching for software and spoke with Maria, and within minutes of our conversation, she told me that Rose Hill has their own searchable online database software and a tech company that manages it, and that Rose Hill has a goal of helping other smaller cemeteries, and she would love to help Center Cemetery. What an opportunity. What do we have online now regarding Center Cemetery? Well, currently there is a page on the town website briefly describing the cemetery, along with providing the sexton's contact information. There is also a link on our town website to the Historical Society website, where we have connections to the town code, cemetery tours, a video, and most importantly, our town historian's Center Cemetery database. This Excel database, which Bob Heron has been updating for years, will be imported into a searchable online database, which I hope you will be able to approve tonight. So let me introduce you to Mark Ambrose, president of DTG, who will show you exactly what we are proposing. Thank you.
Thank you, Ed. Thank you, everybody. My name is Mark Ambrose. I'm from DTG, the owner. And as Ed was saying, we've done quite a bit of work for other cemeteries, Rose Hill, Alderbrook Cemetery in Guilford, Connecticut. And what we've basically done is taken the index cards, the papers, and got them into an electronic format. If you could see on your screen here, this is a screenshot of the Rose Hill Cemetery. And wait for it to come up for you. Basically, what we did is we designed the website, we designed the pages. All the photos that you've seen here are done by drones that have taken the pictures. And we put it all together into a website, and then on top of that, we built a searchable database. Currently, Rose Hill has about 40,000 people buried there, so you could see how you just can't call up the sexton and have the sexton come down to help you find a loved one. It doesn't work that way. There's not enough time in the day to do that. So they decided to go electronic. The same thing with Alderbrook Cemetery. Marie did the same gift to them, basically hired us to develop for them a searchable database. So to show you what we have here, this is a database right now. Information, as you could see, if you can see, it has a lot, the section, the date of birth, date of death, date of burial, and then on top of that, there's maps of where the person, there's an overall map, and then there's a sectional map, which is all incorporated. Not stopping there, we decided how nice would it be that if Aunt Sally had a recipe for spaghetti sauce that she took to her grave. Well, that's no longer true, because we can get that recipe, we can digitize it, and as you can see here, these are photos of my father that we found that we were able to upload to his section on the website along with my mother, and show people that you could attach pictures, you can attach, if we go to here, we can do documents, audio links, and videos. The same thing with Alderbrook Cemetery. If you do a search on Alderbrook, and we can go into the view to details. And then the same thing here. We've got a lot of information to help people going online instead of calling up the cemetery and saying, you know, where is this person buried, or where is the lot, where is the grave. We've broken it down right down to the GPS coordinates. We've also broken it down in this case here if the individual is a veteran, which war he or she participated in, and other bits of information. Again, the file uploading was a very important feature to add to this function of the website. I think you might want to ask yourself, this is all nice, but what is it really good for? Well, first of all, it's good for the historians. It's good for people who do genealogy. It's good for Ancestry.com. Also with Alderbrook, they have a fundraiser. So in order to upload some of these pictures, they charge a very minimal fee of $2 to $5, which helps improves the grounds as far as revenues from the cemetery. This is all generated through the website. So again, with Maria's generosity and what we've been doing in the past, this is a plus for the Center Cemetery. I was able to go down there yesterday with Ed, Ray, and Bob. They gave me the tour of the cemetery, and as Ed was saying, right now you could read some of the inscriptions on the tombstones, but over time it's just going to be part of the rock itself. That's all going to disappear, as you know, along with us in time, but at least if we can electronically digitize all the information, make it available online, the next generation of us will pick that up and take it even to another degree. Thank you very much for your time.
If you have any questions for Mark or Ray, Bob is here, and myself, we could answer any questions you might be thinking about.
Yeah, so I guess my question is, what are you asking us to do or to approve? So you've been offered this opportunity or access to this software by Rose Hill, and so what I'm unclear on is there something that you need permission from us to do, or what exactly is your ask? Is this just information, or do you have an ask?
Well, I would say yes. We need permission. The Historical Society we can't just do this ourselves. It's a town-owned website. The finance committee is responsible for anything administratively that happens there. So, we have a website, but there's going to be technological questions that you're going to have to answer as we go forward.
So what you're looking for is for permission to make these revisions to this. So the town website for Center Cemetery, is that a link on the town website, or does it have its own?
Currently, what is on the town website is a one-page describing Center Cemetery with the sexton's contact information. There is no website specifically for Center Cemetery.
Okay, so the data that you're talking about then will become a link on the town website.
That is a
That's the
decision that needs to be answered
Okay.
by the tech person and Mark.
So what I'm basically saying is that Maria from Rose Hill has basically offered the opportunity of having our company design a website for the cemetery, not just a link or a picture, but a full functioning website, just like you've seen for Rose Hill and Alderbrook, along with a searchable database, which will gather information from the town and put into a database on all the people that are buried in that cemetery.
So are you talking about entering into a contract with your company that Rose Hill will pay for, that someone's going to pay for? So again, I mean, look, I'm not, like everything, to my mind, everything you're describing sounds great. I just want to be clear on, what this subcommittee's role is in this. Is this
Well,
something that they could just do as volunteers, or is this really something that you need our consent for? So I just
I
want to
think
clear on that.
basically we just want the okay to allow us to proceed to start working on this project, which is not gonna cost the town any money. As true as it sounds, it's true. It's basically, Maria pays for it, which she's done for Alderbrook. We build it, we set it up, and all we ask is that you, over time, your IT staff, they just maintain their servers, they maintain the hosting, which you're doing now for all your websites, so it's not gonna cost you any more money.
Okay.
That's basic, as simple as it sounds, it's that simple.
So what we're anticipating, though, is that this will be hooked into the town website. So there will be some ongoing involvement by the town in terms of maintaining the website, IT support, that sort of thing.
Exactly. We'll bring it to that level. We'll put all the data in for you. I'll work with these three gentlemen here on showing them how it runs, and then they can pick up from there.
The only problem I see, it's
Just speak into the mic.
Ray Sweezy, it's a great service, but there's gonna be a lot of input. The first grave was 1732 down there, so it's not gonna cost the town anything. It's gonna be a town website. Once he finishes it, the town's gonna own it. I went to the town clerk yesterday. For the 17, 18 years that I've been down there, every time I sell a plot, I give it to the town clerk. She has that all on computer. So they'll be able to easily take that and input it into the new system. So it'll show exactly who owns what and where, pretty close to where. The graves that are already fallen over, I mean, we got Civil War, you got American Revolution. It's going to take a lot of input. So that's going to be the question. Somebody's going to have to input all this into the system. That's the only thing I see where somebody's going to have to do the work, whether it's the Historical Society or, volunteers over the next 5 years. But it's not going to cost anything. You can go on Rose Hill's site, or this site here. It's amazing. I mean, you can just pull it up. I probably only get 4 or 5 calls a year. I don't know how many Bob gets, asking where people are buried, because most people that are buried in the old section, they don't have any family left anywhere. If you died in 1800s, think about it, But it's the people that are doing the research on their family that go back. So, but at no cost, and there's no license agreements, there's no yearly fee. There's no yearly fee or anything. So, I mean, it's really, I don't even think they need your permission. I think the Historical Society could do it, okay? But to have it through the town website, so when you went to the town website, you go to Center Cemetery, and this information would come up. And the most valuable thing I see is that, I mean, I'm getting a few $1,000, $4,000 from Mona this year to do some stone repair from the town. Well, it's from the cemetery account. It's not costing the
Not me
taxpayers a
personally.
dime, okay? It's not costing the taxpayers a dime. But if you charge $5 to put that picture on and 50 people wanted to do it, it's a little more revenue the cemetery would get for fixing stones from the 1800s, 1700s, 1900s, and, you know, to today. So it would be a little revenue source, and it's not gonna, you know, it's just, Ed's done a tremendous job. I mean, him and Bob have done basically all the work.
So let me just,
with Rose Hill,
Do you have
so-
any more questions that we could help you with?
no, Ed, I just gotta understand procedurally, because
Yes.
I'm with Bill. I'm not sure what we are approving, because there's no cost. From a finance side, right, it's a cost. There is none. So, John, from a procedural process, what is our next step to
Well-
accept this?
Well, as he
Yeah.
did mention, the cemetery falls under the finance committee's
Yep.
jurisdiction. They're coming up with this proposal that Rose Hill is providing them with a database for our cemetery. So I think it's more along the lines that you agree with it and let them pursue doing it,
Okay.
and maybe coming back in phases just to show what they've done. Because I think when we had a
John, the
discussion.
resolution could basically be, as long as there's no cost, Historical Society could move along and put this into the town website, working with the town, again, at no cost, and, you know, move forward and report back on a, you know, quarterly basis until it's done, or, you know, yearly basis,
But
whatever you
when
want.
we had that conversation beforehand, we were looking at phases where, like Ray said, we have a lot of current records, current being 20, 25 years. That would be like phase one to try to get it in there. And then you develop a database where people most logically would come to try to find relatives. And then you work off of Bob's historical database and try to integrate that in there. So it's sort of like a two-phase thing. Let's try to get the most current, available, readable information into the database
Yeah.
and move forward, and then eventually create this website that would hook up to the town website under the cemetery section.
If I may, so one of the things that Mark is going to have to do, I believe, and I don't want to speak for you, but I believe the case is that he's going to have to meet eventually with the tech person for the town, correct?
Correct.
And so, you know, he's not just going to walk into town and say, hey, I'm doing something on Senate. We need a letter, some sort of letter direction from this committee to give, you know, to introduce Mark, to give him what he needs to do this job that he's going about doing. That's at least the bottom line for us.
Can Mark produce that letter that you're looking for, stating what he needs to be done?
Sure.
If you could do that.
I mean,
and,
basically, I'm just looking to talk to someone in the IT field who's running the website, tell him or her what we're trying to do, and bring them on board, and just let them know what's coming down the road when we're done with the project, so there's no surprises.
Okay, I think I understand.
Okay.
Okay. I think preliminarily, since I look at the agenda, it only is listed as a discussion item, so I'm first going to do a preliminary motion to amend the agenda. So, Mr. Chairman, I move to amend the agenda with respect to Center Cemetery Database to add a possible action item in connection with that item.
I'll second. All in favor?
Aye. Okay, and Mr. Chairman, with respect to Center Cemetery Database, I move that the Finance Committee direct the town to approve and reasonably cooperate with the project by which the Rocky Hill Historical Society will be coordinating at no cost to the town the design of a website for Center Cemetery and the creation of a database that will facilitate the location of burial plots there and related information about those who are interred there.
I will second.
How's that?
Works for us.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you very
Good
much.
luck with starting your project.
Yes,
Thank you.
and thank you. Thank you for taking this initiative.
Thank you.
Much appreciated.
You okay continuing on? Okay. We'll move on to item 7, update on reserve for capital and non-recurring expenditure fund through March 31st.
Yeah, there's a schedule in your packet reflecting the the non-reoccurring accounts. And basically, there wasn't much spent out of it right now. What will be put in here is that 503,000 associated with the Burris refund of the business incentive program. Down the road, we do have money left over for school improvements, roof replacement for Stevens School, that is at 136. And then down below, they also have some money left over for Board of Ed miscellaneous repairs over the years for 212,000. So that's some additional money that can be used when we calculate Monday night's use of the town's share of the roof replacement at Griswold School.
Okay. Any questions, Bill?
Nope.
No? All right. Thank you, John. State aid for municipalities?
Okay.
Last page here.
The update on state grants, we have received our second installment on the Mashantucket Pequot money, the $71,182. That was received earlier this month, in April.
So that's April's money?
It is.
Okay, that's okay.
It is. I just couldn't keep from sharing that information.
All right. And is that the only one we've received?
That is the only change.
Okay. Anything else there, Bill? You're
not.
good? Yep. All right. Thank you, Mona. We'll go on to the monthly financial report.
Okay. First sheet we have is for the tax collector's monthly report. Doing very well with the current levy collections at 99.4%. You can see that our 3-year average benchmark was going to be at 99.6, and when we look at the actual collected, we're at 99.5, so very close to where we need to be. Good shape with the current tax, as well as the motor vehicle supplemental bills went out, and we're doing very well with those as well. Last year we were at 87.7, and this year at 88.2. And to make things even better with the tax office, the prior year collections is going very well. Again, in comparison, 289 this time last year to 354,000 this year. So tax collections are in a very good place at this point in time.
If there's no questions, we'll keep moving forward with your report.
As for all other revenues, we talked about tax and state collections. For the most part, we are right where we need to be. Our larger line items such as recording and building permits, right around that 74-75% where we should be at the third quarter. Conveyance, still a bit behind at the 59.6, but again, that's more of a season. I think we'll start seeing that picking up as we're seeing more sales and so forth in the real estate. So we'll watch that, but I believe that would pick up, looking historically how the trends go with that particular account.
And the biggest component that we haven't collected yet is the state revenue, and there's no reason to believe
Oh,
that won't
right.
be.
Those are
It's
just
not due
timely.
yet, so it's just a timing.
In fact, the ECS should be coming at the end of this month, so
Okay.
we should be good with that.
So that should put us in fairly good shape on collections,
Yes, it will.
and let's match that up with the expenses.
Let's look there. So staying with that thought in mind at the 75% because of it being the third quarter, for the most part, the departments are on track where they should be. I think we had mentioned before about probate court having the credit earlier on in the year. You'll see that we'll get a billing toward the end, but it still will be under budget. Of course, we had a good credit there. As far as firefighting, that appears to be low at the 53%. That's basically for the pension payment, that actually went out, actually yesterday. So we'll see that that will pick up and the percentage will be more in alignment with the actuals. And as far as highway garage, we've talked about that before. Watching that fuel line, it's already over budget at this point by about 30,000. So of course, that'll continue to be over budget. And again, we'll just have other areas that we can look at, such as contingency and so forth, that can help us in that area. I think those would be our largest highlights. Capital improvement, although it's at 45%, the largest piece of that being for the school improvements, and we'll have activity in that as the year goes on. You want to talk about? Oh, go ahead. I thought you had something.
Mention about the debt payments.
Oh, yes, and we did, yes, we had, that's a good point as well. So with the debt will be fully expended in the following month. So debt
Okay.
payments went out, which should have been for tomorrow, but being a holiday, we had sent those out today.
And just to kind of, I don't want to jump into the budget workshops that we'll start, but I know there's some of the items we're still under budget. Are we still looking at some of that where we're over in areas we may have
Absolutely.
some funds left and, okay.
Yeah.
Questions, Bill?
I have no questions.
Very straightforward. We have anything for other?
Oh, I think I did not. Yeah, I think we had the information about the fire department having the opportunity to collect, although I don't think I brought my notes with me, so I may not do the item justice. But there was the opportunity from the state level for us collecting on fire calls on the, and I know I won't get the term correct without having my paperwork in front of me, but such as the on and off ramps of the highways, or, you know, those sections of the highway that are less active, not the highways themselves, but the on and off, the exit ramps and so forth. So there's the opportunity for them to be billing to the state, which I think they had been hoping for that. We've been talking to the chief about that. And that would be a $700 per year and then a $700 per call. So this could be a potential revenue source for them. We're waiting to see what the restrictions are. Is it, you know, to be expended for, you know, fire purposes only? So it's, you know, something to share, but it's still in the beginning stages. So
That's a positive step forward.
it is, it is.
So if we get called out to the highway for an accident and the fire trucks go out there to block the lanes, some state fire marshal would be paying towns that go on these interstates $700 for doing that. As of right now, we get nothing.
Right. Well, at least it's something to offset the time that we're spending. I
Yep.
mean, and it's a volunteer fire department, so
Yeah.
it'd be nice to see that come in. And
It would.
we know our calls on the highways have been way up. We hear that from public safety, so that would be a positive. And does that have to pass? Is the state still discussing that, or has that been,
Believe it's passed.
okay,
Surprisingly, it's a little more than one page bill, and I think both houses passed it.
very good.
But I gotta have Bill read these bills, because the way they write them on,
So again, so this is,
figure when Bill has his, you know, his Novocaine in there, it'll make a lot of sense.
so this is separate from what was discussed previously about calls on the highway proper. This is like on the shoulders and the on-ramps,
Right,
off
right,
ramps sort of a
yeah.
thing. And that's more typical.
But if they get called out onto an interstate, so it's 91, 84.
No, I understand that, but I think the distinction that you made, Mona, when you were describing it was
On
not
the
when it's on the highway itself, but this is something separate when they're not on the highway, but sort of that in-between, like on the ramps.
Correct.
So for example,
was the
maybe after a
reference.
vehicle's been towed off to the shoulder and they have the fire trucks there
Right.
to shield them or something like that. So this is a separate bill for that than from on the highway itself? I'm just a little puzzled by that. Why
think
the
they had
distinction?
I think
identified-
just
yeah, I was
looking
gonna-
at it, it can
yeah.
be
Oop.
either.
Have you looked over
Anytime the
there?
highway, fire department gets called out on an accident on an interstate, they'll get $700 supposedly from the state for providing that protection as a address the accident.
Well, I'm only asking because I thought Mona specified that had to do not with the highway proper, but only with like the ramps and the like.
That was my interpretation.
I
If
think
he's
that's the-
seeing it as greater, I will like his interpretation. We'll look at it
Maybe we
further.
could clarify it for
I will.
Monday night.
I think it's anytime the fire department goes out there,
Okay.
they'll get paid
Okay.
for it. But, as I said,
Yeah,
the
it seemed,
paperwork.
yeah, I know, it even
we're
seemed
trying to
so,
say something good now, but, you know, so,
Yeah.
somehow the town's gonna get $700 if it goes on the
I
highway,
know, that's right.
Okay.
as opposed to nothing.
All right, that sounds good.
Just to follow.
Well, maybe it's just clarifying that the on-ramps and off-ramps and shoulders are considered part of the highway, so
Right.
we'll go with the
We'll clarify.
broadest possible interpretation. That sounds good.
With a hopeful update, maybe for Monday night's council meeting and fill in the
Perfect.
details.
Okay,
Anything else for other?
That's it.
Entertain a motion to adjourn.
move to adjourn.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.